Welcome to Life Habit Week 6. Let's jump right in. Okay, we're going to replace all white flour and grains, which are processed flours, with whole grain foods instead. Why are we going to do this? Because processed flour and grains will sabotage your efforts to burn body fat versus eating whole grains, which are filling, they contain nutrients, and they're higher in fiber. Somebody told me this equation once. White flour plus eggs plus sugar equals fatty thighs, hips, and stomach. You know that poochy little stomach? Not good. I'm pretty convinced to eat whole grains just by this equation alone. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to check the labels for unbleached and bleached flour. How we're going to do that is by reading the ingredient labels, and you've been doing that up to this point, and so it's really the same thing. Just flip that box over and look at it. Now, what I really want to point out here is this phrase, the enriched, unbleached, and bleached flour. What is really deceiving about marketing today is sometimes we think when we look at a box that's brown and sometimes not very bright, then we think, oh, this must be healthy because it looks really boring, you know. Other times we can look like a box like Wheat Thins, which is it's a really pretty and appealing box, and the crackers are brown, so we just automatically think, oh, that's healthy, and the word wheat tells us, oh, this must be healthy. But that word wheat means that wheat is sprinkled in there somewhere. It doesn't mean that it's a complete, pure, whole grain. The words that would be better to look for on the front of the package would be 100% whole grain. That means that it's purely 100%. Okay, so just the word wheat alone does not mean that it's totally a whole grain product. It means that it could be very processed still. So flip over the back and read the ingredients. So how are we going to make this happen? Well, I think it's really important that we first start by throwing out all processed flour products. Muffins, crackers, bread, white pasta, chips, tortillas, white rice. Just think foods that are white and sticky. Water plus flour equal glue and equal paper mache. You know, that really hard sticky stuff. Your intestines don't want that in there. It's not good for metabolism and a lot of other reasons as well, beyond body fat. Number 2, choose whole grains, preferably those foods made from brown rice and whole oats. That'd be a great choice. Number 3, corn products made without additional or processed flours are okay, like corn tortillas. Number 4, read your labels. I think we've really drove that home already. And number 5, skip any bread and croutons served at a restaurant, even if it is quote-unquote brown. This doesn't mean it is whole wheat. Molasses is used to create color a lot of times, and wheat sprinkled into white flour isn't a whole grain. Number 6, remember that starches are fuel and aren't the only carbohydrate source. Fruit is also a great option for your carbohydrate sources. Eating fruit should be the majority of your carbohydrate source, especially if you are not working out. If you don't work out, you really don't need any grain products. And I know that that really goes against some things we were taught growing up, but fruit is very adequate for your carbohydrate intake if you are not working out. Now, if you work out and you have a strenuous workout, you need a little bit of grain in your body to sustain that endurance. But for the most part, grains and starches have really been overemphasized in our diet. So we're going to kind of put those in their appropriate place. So to get your point, you are going to eat a flour or grain food only in the whole grain option. Okay, that's how you get your point. Now, you don't have to eat a grain during the day to get your point, but when you do, it needs to be whole grain. Now, you don't get a point if you eat a food that contains a processed flour. Okay, that's pretty simple. All right, that's habit number 6. You guys are booking through this, and I'm sure you're experiencing great results. So we'll see you next time.